Easier to say anyone who talk about Shakespeare and Florio just want to steal Shakespeare and slap an Italian flag on him. Hi everyone, welcome back to John Florio channel. I am Mary and I'm here to talk about the great John Florio. Hi guys, I hope you are all well. First of all, thank you, we reached 2,000 subscribers. Trust me, when I started this YouTube channel, there were like 10 people following me. And for such rare and unknown topic, this result is truly outstanding. So really, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Don't stop sharing this video. Talk to your friends, relatives about John Florio, about Shakespeare, and share this channel. Keep supporting me. Today, I will talk about a huge topic: Shakespeare and fascism. When the link between John Florio and Shakespeare is brought up, there is always one objection that inevitably surfaces. It has become almost a reflex in academic books and newspaper articles. This theory was born during fascism, so it has no value. But is it really that simple? Or is it just a way to bury an uncomfortable story? Let's start from the beginning. In 1927, the Italian newspaper L'Impero published an article by the journalist Santi Palladino suggesting the link, the connection between Shakespeare and John Florio. Yes, we are in the heart of the fascist era. And from there, a whole line of Italian research begins, sometimes misunderstood, other times deliberately manipulated. One of these is the unfortunately famous Crolla Lanza theory, which claims that John Florio's father, Michelangelo, had his surname Crolla Lanza, never proven actually, and when he arrived in England he translated Crolla Lanza into Shakespeare, then beginning writing the plays later attributed to the man from Stratford. A theory never actually proven, so a huge conspiracy hoax. And within this trend, several studies emerged. Studies, and I use this quote, studies, because they were never scholarly, they were more farcical. Some examples: there were the seances. These seances were collected in a book, Shakespeare, the Italian genius, demonstrations and proof of his Italian nationality through psychographic revelation about Guglielmo Crolla Lanza. And these theories continued. In 2005, Domenico Rotundo published another book in which he claimed that Michelangelo Crolla Lanza was related, he was a relative, possibly a cousin of William from Stratford, and he had Rosicrucian roots. And these Rosicrucian codes were embedded in Shakespeare plays. Let's be clear, the point here is not to defend these conspiracy theories, but to dismantle a false and harmful oversimplification. Because when you reduce this whole story to a fascist gimmick cooked up by a group of amateurs who never really studied the primary sources, you are engaging in erasure, in historical censorship. You are ignoring the work of European and American scholars who asked the same questions before and after the fascist era, and with not conspiracy theories, but historical documents. Let's make some examples. Let's start with the Shakespearean scholar Clara Longworth de Chambrun, who in 1921 published a book about John Florio. In the first chapter, Chambrun wrote a brief biography, the life and works of John Florio. In the second chapter, she began doing a stylistic linguistic analysis and a comparison between John Florio's works and Shakespeare's works, discovering a lot of similarities between the two writers. In 1925, George Coffin Taylor published the groundbreaking Shakespeare Debt to Montaigne, in which he published many similarities between John Florio's English translation of Montaigne's essays and Shakespeare's plays before and after John Florio Florio's English translation. In 1916, the Italian Paolo Orano published a book in which he uncovered the connection between Giordano Bruno and Shakespeare. He took inspiration from two German scholars who in the 19th century published several books in which they demonstrated that Hamlet was Giordano Bruno, and in Shakespeare's plays we find many similarities with Giordano Bruno's plays. In their analysis, these two German scholars, Stillschmidt and Barthelmess, were able to demonstrate that the connection between Giordano Bruno and Shakespeare was John Florio. And in 1932, Fascism published the groundbreaking biography about John Florio, The Life of an Italian in Shakespeare, England, in which she wrote the full-length biography about John Florio, and in the last chapter of this biography, he has dedicated some lines to the connection between Shakespeare and John Florio. And again, after this biography, she published a study of Love's Labus Lost, in which she traced all the similarities between John Florio's work, Giordano Bruno's works, and Shakespeare's Love's Labus Lost. Yet today, many brush everything aside with a single sentence. It's about fascist stuff, so it doesn't make any sense. Is it true? No. Do you know what this tragedy really means? It's a way of saying, we don't want to deal with this. It's too inconvenient, too European, too hybrid. It's easier to say anyone who talk about Shakespeare and Florio just want to steal Shakespeare and slap an Italian flag on him. And believe me, I've been told this many times. Even during a public presentation of my novel Resolute John Florio at the French embassy that I am translating into English and will come out in autumn very soon, a woman, a retired English teacher, told me, "You are telling me that everything I knew about Shakespeare is actually not true? Do you know that this theory was born during the fascist era?" Of course, I answered to her by replying and proving that this was not true. And the most important thing was that the point, the focus is that no one is trying to steal a myth, a legend, a genius. It's about understanding how Florio became who he was thanks to England, precisely because of England. Let's not forget, John Florio's father, Michelangelo, was forced to leave Italy because he was a Protestant. His best friend, Giordano Bruno, was burned alive in Campo dei Fiori in Rome. In Italy, Inquisition left no room for intellectual freedom. This was something that Florio had in England. Florio took the best from both worlds, from both Italy and England. From England, he took the patronage. The most important English aristocrats believed and supported Florio. In England, Florio lived a vibrant cultural scene. He had opportunities. From Italy, he took the literary words, the Italian writers, the theatre scene, the commedia dell'arte, the great dramatic tradition. And let's not forget that Florio defined himself English at heart. He felt himself English. He described himself as Italianate Englishman, half English, half Italian. He was a man of borders, of mixture, and precisely because of this he was erased. He was too hard to categorize. So when you read articles or hear experts say, yes, it's just all fascist theory, it has no value, know that they are lying to you. They are hiding something, and they are doing it in the simplest, most effective way, by labeling everything as nationalism, so they don't have to deal with it. But the truth, if we dare to look closely, is far more complex and far more interesting. Let me know in the comments what do you think of this story, because this story deserves to be known, discussed and explored. Stay resolute. Bye!